right into it?
I think we're live.
Well, let's look at that little chart.
Oh, that little.
It's going. Now we're live.
Now we're live.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Well, thanks for your patience.
Oh, no problem.
All right. So, what are you up to?
Honey, I brought a copy of my new book.
Okay.
From
now, where can we buy that?
You can buy it, I assume, at
it.
Barnes & Noble, Amazon. You can buy one from me right now. $30, Henry.
All right.
But it's been awesome. You know, I live out in western Kansas now.
I'll buy one. Will you autograph it?
I will.
Okay.
For 10 extra bucks, I'll sign Charlie Curtis's name too. But it's been great. We're staying at a hotel over in North Topeka. I'm speaking in Lecompton tomorrow. 2 o'clock in Lecompton tomorrow.
2 o'clock at, that's territorial capital.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Home of Tim Ruiz.
Well, Tim just retired.
From what? That's not a job.
Well, it was a labor of love.
Just kidding.
But yeah, he retired. And the young man who is the site administrator, Eric Smallwood, is originally from West Virginia. So we're probably cousins. So we got a lot to talk about when I get over there.
All right, I hope, if anybody's watching, make sure I got audio. Here, I'll check it out.
Yeah, because I might say something important. Yeah.
Yes, I'm down with that. Let's make sure you're.
Yeah. I brought Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he retired.
Okay, because look, I was having some technical difficulties. So look, the camera's right there. And so, Tim Ruiz is one of my favorite people.
Oh,
you know what I used to call him his whole life?
What?
General Funston. Or no, General, just General.
Not Funston. He's a lot taller than Funston.
Well, but he was at Funston's when he first started with the state.
Mm-hmm.
He was the curator of Funston's house.
Oh, gosh. Fred Funston. I'm really seriously considering writing a book on Funston.
All right.
I love Fred Funston.
Should you write a book on me?
That story...
it's still evolving.
It's evolving.
It's still
That's
evolving.
Right. Yeah. It would have to be in volumes.
Hey,
it would
you know what you ought to do?
Volume 1, 2.
Hey, I've got a book. I'm going to get a book for you. Dane, I was telling you about Mace Siegel.
Mm-hmm.
And really, Mace's empire wouldn't have come together without Dana K. Anderson. And after I read his book, there was it left me wanting for more. But it's a small business. I love history.
Do you really?
So, yeah. Well, it's the only thing. Come on. Are you giving me shit? It's okay. No, I do. I love history.
Good.
I mean,
Good.
It helps you understand the future.
It does. It does. And why things are the way they are. And
if you ask an Orthodox priest whether Putin's a liberator or a conqueror, it's an interesting answer.
Oh, yeah, there's always another perspective, isn't there?
But this is your show.
All right.
I go down rabbit holes, So let's talk about this guy.
New book. All right, so from the reservation to Washington, the rise of Charles Curtis, who was, of course, born in North Topeka, really close to where the Overland Station is. That's where the little cabin was, where he was born, and in 1860. So Kansas was still a territory. So his life, he goes from 1860, territorial Kansas, to 1936 when he passes away, through the First World War, and what a lifespan. And he is in the thick of things for his entire life. A remarkable man, vice president under Hoover, and of course, Hoover's administration. I am actually, Henry, one of the historians who ranks the presidents for C-SPAN.
Really?
Yeah, whenever a new administration comes in, C-SPAN has that presidential ranking. I take part in that.
So what was Hooverville all about?
Hooverville's, you've got the stock market crash. Hoover goes into office early in 1929 and elected in 28. And then, the stock market crash, the roaring 20s, everybody's...
The flappers, the dancing.
Yeah, the money, the booze, prohibition, and you got all the booze in the back. Making fortunes. Talk about rabbit holes. Okay, so a lot of the Kennedys made money on bootlegging. I mean, a lot of fortunes were made.
Joe Kennedy was nothing but a bootlegger.
Well, so were my family. My grandpa, that's how he made his money, was bootlegging.
Moonshine?
Yes. Yes, and
So, no,
all the
wait.
fortunes back home in the hills were made during the bootlegging. Yeah.
The early NASCAR drivers were
Oh, yeah,
bootleggers.
Junior Johnson.
Yeah.
Junior Johnson. North Wilkesboro, I grew up the next county over
Now, where's this?
in Northwest North Carolina, Virginia.
Oh,
Right on
man.
the line. Yeah. So, yeah, Junior Johnson, North Wilkesboro
So,
racetrack.
were you a NASCAR fan?
Well, you couldn't help it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went to high school with the Wood Brothers. So the Wood Brothers racing team is they've got one of the winningest records. Petty used to race for them, and so they've got.
See, I knew all these. I knew a lot of guys from NASCAR because of Henry Nathan Sims. Now, Henry was from Pensacola, and he built stuff for Mace Rich. He actually knew Rich Cohen first. He built some office buildings in New York. And every day, he was doing it way before Trump even, his nose was running.
Right.
But so Henry Nathan would go to work and he'd have to take $5,000-$6,100 bills. And, the cop would come around so they could get the cement, and you got to tip the cement driver. We know who's in that business, all that. And so Bobby Allison.
Oh, yeah.
I met Bobby and Davey Allison.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
But Henry Nathan had a NASCAR, and I can't remember. I'll show you the picture back yonder. Henry Nathan, I worked for him. He built Gordman's, that building.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, back in the day.
Well,
it was called Arlen.
One of my cousins used to do the pace car at Richmond at the racetrack. And they had the largest truck stop in the world at one time, my cousins, the Gerald's. So Gerald's truck stop, it was on Highway 1, and then it was I-95. They moved it over to I-95 when it came through, between Fredericksburg and Washington. And they were such a big truck stop, they had their own radio station. And they were Carolina boys. Big John Trumbull, he was the DJ. And they had all these Carolina boys driving trucks, Old Dominion Freight Lines, Estes, all those guys coming through there. And so they were big into NASCAR, a lot of connections there. And yeah, and then back home, I grew up just outside of Mount Airy, North Carolina. So Mayberry is essentially my hometown.
We're in Mayberry.
Yeah, Mayberry.
This is Mayberry. Oh, my God. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
did you know I lived in Chattanooga?
No.
Yeah, I lived in Chattanooga for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you got to go.
That's a nice area.
Yeah. What's let's see. Where was the last battle of the American Revolution?
Well, the last, they surrendered at Yorktown, but that's not the last battle.
Chattanooga.
Yeah.
You know where the last battle of the Civil War was?
Well, that's debatable.
Chattanooga. But that's what the Chattanoogans say.
Yeah, that's what the Chattanoogans say.
I love Chattanooga.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area.
I had an opportunity to stay in Chattanooga and go to work for like the local old money. But and that's where we borrowed our first money to get in the mall business was Provident. Provident Life Insurance was from Chattanooga.
Cool.
But like the Metro Chattanooga was 500,000 people. And that was like big city for me.
Well, it's a big city for back there, too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
So you could zip right down, they called it the Autobahn, to get to Hotlanta. But I fit in Chattanooga.
Yeah, it's a nice area. Atlanta, I wouldn't give you 2 cents for Atlanta, but
I got to go I'd stayed up in the Peachtree area, I think it was called.
It's all called the Peachtree area.
No, well, there was a Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Everything is peach something.
Hell, while I'm spending Mace's money, I'm spending all his money, trying to. But
Peach Lane, Peach
nice hotels.
Street, Peach. Yeah, it's everything's peach. But.
All right, so let's go back to Curtis because
Okay.
I took you down a rabbit hole.
I know you did. Okay, so Charlie Curtis.
Hey, did we make our point on that rabbit hole? What were we talking about? Oh, just
come see me tomorrow.
Okay, Lecompton.
Yeah, 2:00 tomorrow, and I will have books for sale.
Okay.
They had some and they sold them out. The book is selling very well, Henry.
All right.
True West Magazine named it the Reader's Choice for Best Biography for 2024. And True West Magazine, I was going to bring you one. If you go by Barnes & Noble or whatever and pick up a a True West magazine, the current issue. There's a feature on me in it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so nice. It's so cool. So
When I met
Charlie,
you, what were you doing back then?
God, I don't know. That was 100 years ago.
Doesn't feel like it.
I don't remember, Henry. I've always been writing or something. I don't know.
Are you having fun?
I have wonderful adventures. I work with the Fort Wallace Museum in Western Kansas. You all got to come and see us. Um, Wallace County has maybe 1,500 people. Actually live in Oakley, so I think Logan County has maybe 5,000 or something.
Oakley, isn't that where you can take or isn't that where the world's largest prairie dog is?
Used to be.
Okay.
Prairie dog's gone. Yeah.
But it was
Now we have the Buffalo Bill sculpture.
Oh,
Yeah. So he took the place of the prairie dog, but
Buffalo Bill Cody.
Buffalo Bill Cody. Gorgeous, gorgeous sculpture.
So
He is hunting a buffalo. It's gorgeous.
So did you find that interesting that Henry knew?
Yes.
It's in his. Oh, did I show you his obituary?
No, we'll have to read
It's
that
right
one.
there in Kansas City,
Cool.
Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah, we
I'm always trying to get some sort of relevance and feel important, because I've lived such a sheltered life.
I know, Henry. It's sad.
Nobody knows
You
me.
should get out more.
I know. I got to get out more.
Cody.
Hey, come on! I put on a tie and everything for
I
you.
know you look very nice.
Very respectful
nice.
of today's guest.
That's right. That's right.
A lot of admiration for your writing.
Well, thank you.
See, look, I got it.
Sod and Stubble.
We're going to talk about that, right?
Sod and Stubble. This book is wonderful. I did not write this.
No, I know.
John Ice wrote this, and he was an economics professor at KU, renowned economics professor. I mean, a really big deal.
I want to be renowned.
His son worked with Oppenheimer. His son was, I think, still the youngest graduate ever of KU, and 13 or 14 or something, and genius, and worked with Oppenheimer. So the Ice
On the Manhattan Project?
Yeah. So Ice was a brilliant man and a pioneering family up around Downs, Kansas. His parents, his dad was a German immigrant. His mother was, I think, first generation. I think she was actually born in Holton, but her parents had immigrated from Germany. And this is the story of their very hard life. So the film, I'm a producer on the film. Ken Spurgeon, my dear friend from down in Wichita, wrote the script and directed it. We have Bailey Chase, if you watched Longmire, or Saving Grace, or the new film Homestead, which is really going gangbusters.
Bailey Chase.
Bailey Chase, drop dead gorgeous.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
watching.
Yeah, he's a hunk and a half.
Oh,
okay.
I thought Bailey could be.
No, this is a guy.
But Bailey could be a woman.
Bailey could be a woman.
WKRP?
That's right. But no, this is
Did you hear that?
I did. Wasn't an earthquake, was it?
I don't know, but one time I was in here and some lady drove up a power line.
Oh, jeez. All right, so we've got Bailey Chase. We've got Barry Corbin. You remember Barry Corbin?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Why would I know
Northern
Barry?
Exposure, The Right Stuff, Lonesome Dove, Barry Corbin. Barry freaking Corbin. He is a superstar.
Can we get him on the show?
If he had time, he is
Should
awesome.
we call him?
I could call him.
We could call him up.
Barry is a superstar. And we've got Buck Taylor.
Now,
Gunsmoke, Buck Taylor.
now, what did he do?
He was the newly, the hunky deputy. And then he was in
Look at
The
you.
Hell or High Water, and he was in Tombstone. Did you see Tombstone?
Yeah, which one? With
The
Val
one-
Kilmer?
Yes.
I'm your Huckleberry.
That's right. So Buck is in,
He stole, for being a supporting, he stole that
he
show.
stole the show, yeah.
Val Kilmer, he was a cool dude. I really liked him.
Yeah, very cool dude. Very cool dude.
One of his best movies is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. You ever see that one?
I think so.
He plays a
remember
private
it.
detective.
Yeah, I
It's
remember
It's an
that.
interesting show. And then
Yeah.
I love him in Spartan.
Oh, yeah. We have very different taste in movies. You got to watch some Westerns. And we've also got...
I love Big Jake.
Okay, that's good.
We had a dog named Dog.
Patrick Wayne. Big Jake.
You know, I drove John Wayne's boat.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Well, Patrick, I know Patrick,
the
and
Wild Goose.
Patrick is still, when he was young, most beautiful man in the world. I mean, he was like Adonis. He was so gorgeous. But he is still a very handsome man and a really fun guy.
His dad was really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, his dad had some real racist issues. Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah, but I don't know that that's a
I'm
fair
not going to hold it against.
characterization.
Well, you know, a guy can have an opinion.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Okay, he's a racist. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Well, and I don't know that I would. People are a product of their time,
Right.
and he was a product of his time, but yeah, he's
Okay, so we're talking about movies because I love movies. What's your favorite movie ever? Or just what's your go-to movie?
well, Tombstone with Val Kilmer. I've watched over and over and over, and I can't tear myself away. The Godfather 2, I think, is the best movie ever made. Um,
What
just
do you like about two?
for one thing, De Niro had the most difficult role in the world to fill. He had to take the character Marlon Brando had created and be believable as that younger version, and he did it. And the it's outstanding on every level. It's just a phenomenal movie. Um, but then the movie that changed my life is Santa Fe Trail with Errol Flynn and Ronald Reagan. 1940, 41. When I was, this is
You
true,
know how he
Henry.
got the name in like Flynn? I mean,
I don't want to talk about that.
What?
Okay. I have heard the story. Yeah.
No, it was more of a. It was more. If you're in like Flynn, he just had it made.
Right, he did. He
And
was
Holly-
he was the it guy.
He was Hollywood.
He was the it guy. My friend Lewis Kraft, a dear friend in Hollywood, is writing the biography of Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland. He became very close to Olivia, and he's got. I hope it'll be published later this year. But phenomenal.
Who's
Just
the most
phenomenal.
famous movie star you ever met?
The most famous.
Well, I would
Well,
say Ronald Reagan because I met him, but
I saw Reagan, but I never
I
met him.
I sat down
Um,
and talked to him.
well, I got to hang out with Keith Carradine not too long ago,
All right.
and
What'd you do?
oh, he was
Can you
lovely.
say on the show?
Oh, we sat at the same table, had dinner.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Now,
Uh,
was he kung fu?
no, that was his brother David.
Yeah. Grab the pebbles and you can leave,
Yeah,
grasshopper.
yeah. But Keith and his brother Bobby Carradine. So they were all, in the movie Long Riders, where all the brothers played Frank and Jesse James and Cole Younger. And so the Carradines played the Youngers, the Keaches played the Jameses, the Afflecks, the Quaid brothers. Yeah, I love that movie. That's a really wonderful
You
movie.
know, I got to know so many movie stars from going to the horse track with Mace
Uh huh.
because we'd go to the jockey club.
Right.
And then I used to fly first class back and forth between LA and Reno.
Oh,
And
fun.
yeah, a lot of people lived up in Reno and or Tahoe
Uh huh.
and would fly down to work. Oh man, I met Meathead, Rob Reiner
Oh, cool.
and
Yeah.
Jeff Scott when they were making
Oh,
Misery.
okay. So Norman Lear.
Well, that's a big name.
Yeah, he kissed me.
Oh, where?
Um, on the cheeks. Um,
Sorry.
in Abilene.
That's funny. Come on.
Yeah. So it's when he had the Declaration of Independence, and he's traveling the country with it. And I happened to be there at the uh, reception they had for him in Abilene at the Eisenhower Center. And my grandfather served under Ike in World War I at Camp Colt, Gettysburg. And Grandpa was a coal miner, and he got a medical discharge personally from Ike, and he had to go in the office, and Ike signed it and visited with him. So my grandpa back in Ararat, Virginia, thought the sun rose and set in Ike. So
You know, he warned us about the industrial war complex.
he damn sure did. Okay, so
Can I tell you an Ike
no,
story?
no, be quiet. Okay, so when I go into this really wonderful reception for Norman Lear, and Ann Eisenhower, Ike's granddaughter, was there, and she got up to speak, and I went up to her afterwards, and I said, my grandpa, I said, nothing I have done would have tickled him more than to know I'm standing here with you. And I know you get tired of hearing it, but he served with your granddaddy, and she was like, no, that's wonderful. I love hearing those stories. And she gave me a hug, and you know me, I'm a crybaby, so I got tears running down my face. Well, it's very crowded. Norman Lear, like, she's facing me. He's like bumped up next to her. We're all like sardines. He turns around and sees me crying, and he thinks that I have been moved by this ceremony, which was moving. And he's like, look at you. And he takes my face in his hands. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And he's kissing me.
Oh, that's
and wiping.
nice.
Oh, it was.
Kissing the tears away.
It was precious.
Now, what a man.
Oh, it was. Is that not incredible? What a story. What a story. All right, horse racing. Charlie Curtis was a jockey.
Oh,
So
wow.
when he was a kid, he was in like doing the fair circuit. They called them brush jockeys because these are,
Right.
the races that everybody put together just to bet on for fun. But he was really good. And his granddaddy had a couple of horses. So by the time he's 8 or 9, he is racing for money. And
Why not?
and he is really good. And when he was probably 14, he's racing in Kansas City at the fairgrounds when Frank and Jesse robbed the ticket office, and he hears the shots being fired when Frank and Jesse James robbed the ticket office. And then he's out in Ellsworth, Kansas racing. Oh, he's only probably 8 or 10 then, and meets the legendary lawman Bill Tillman. Bill Tillman buys him a pie, and they win the race. And all the madams and all these people had bet on Charlie, and they bought him a new suit of clothes. The madams did, and he said he'd never been so petted in all his life, and he
Well,
loved
madams
it.
are good at
He
petting.
loved it. He loved it. He bought him
A man,
clothes.
a man after my own heart.
Oh, you'd love him. You'd love him.
So, we were in the mall business. We called ourselves lease jockeys
Uh-huh.
because we were Mace's lease jockeys. And one day I'm at the horse track on a Saturday, and this big Mace had a booming voice. And what are you doing? And I'm thinking to myself, guilty conscience. It's me. Well, and I'm thinking, well, it's Saturday. I can be here, And he just said, I want you up with the real people, in the jockey club. And I used to go to the jockey club with him all the time.
Oh,
and
that's
you just
awesome.
can't believe it. But Ike. So Bianca and I just went to the museum the other day. We just drove over to Salina and went to the Eisenhower Museum because I think it's important.
Which is in Abilene.
Yeah. And because Harry Colmary was my dad's law partner.
Oh,
I knew
sure.
Harry as a child.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so Harry, and actually Harry saved my dad's life professionally.
Uh-huh.
But he asked MacArthur, Harry asked MacArthur to be president, and he said no, and then he asked Ike. And my dad knew Ike from the conference calls, and
Sure.
I got Harry's desk in there.
Oh, that's so cool.
So
Henry.
besides being the architect and really the author of the GI Bill, because Harry never would say that,
Mm-hmm.
he negotiated the Philippine Treaty originally, and he was a lawyer for the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an apartment at the Willard, and Harry would just go back and change into $3,000 suits, in the 40s, and he had a staff that worked around the clock. And then he also rewrote the Philippine Constitution in '68.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, what a life. Is there a good biography of him out there?
I don't know. Let's write it. We could get
He
it. I know his grandkids.
they he should have one. He
They
really
all came.
should.
They were all in town for that pocket park we got on Ninth
Mhm.
Street, and nobody asked me to do it because I'm not part of the clique here in Topeka. You know what I mean? I'm not the country club. Go Topeka Chamber of Commerce. But anyway, the Calmarys were in town, and they go, well, we know you knew him because you're the only one that pronounces his name right. But I got to meet all the Calmarys and the grandchildren and great grandchildren, and that was really fun. And I got to meet all the generals today. They took me around like a rock star.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah, this little boy. They go, this boy right here, knew your great grandfather, or great grandfather, whatever it was. Well, it was fun. Oh,
That's
it's
so
your
cool.
show. You keep talking. What else?
So,
Sorry.
The story of Charlie Curtis is one that people need to know. And
Hey, let's talk about real quick. What about his house? Is that going to be
yeah, the state's buying it.
the state's buying it?
Uh-huh.
And the lawyer, come on, the lawyer that helped with all that,
John
John
Pinniger.
he's a good guy.
He's a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he that deal wouldn't have happened without John, right?
I I don't know that, but I suspect that. I Yeah, I wasn't there, but I suspect that's true. Yeah.
So let me ask you, why is it important to have that as an expense on the taxpayers for longevity? Tell me.
Well, in the current issue of True West, where I was interviewed about what history has taught me,
Okay.
one of the questions was, where do you find the best history? And I said, where it happened. And
I love that.
people want a piece of the cross. We are tactile beings, and if it's not in front of us, if we can't touch it, it's not real. And what is wonderful about Charlie Curtis is, whether you like his politics or not, he became controversial for the Curtis Act, which was dis- helped dissolve the tribal governments. But he was after Indian citizenship, and that's a whole, we could talk for a week on that. Indians were not considered citizens. It's insane. But that is what he was working towards. So he has become controversial. But this is a guy who,
Well, so let's talk about that real quick.
okay,
So, because, like, at some point, where do we reconcile everything? You know what I mean? How do, no, really,
it's hard.
how
It's
do
hard.
we do it?
Well, number one, what Charlie was after, and this is one of the things I talk about, what motivated him. And being a Kansan is, in the era that he grew up, this is so important. People move to Kansas to vote. No other state can say that
Because of,
because of the slavery issue.
right.
So people are coming to Kansas. The face of Kansas is altered because activists move here. Whatever side you're on, you're coming here to make stuff happen.
Originally.
And voting is how you controlled it. That's, they joke about the voter fraud, but that one of those early elections, we had 6,000 votes cast and only 3,000 eligible voters in the state, which is hilarious. But that highlights how important voting was. And Kansas, I got into an argument with a Stanford professor about this years ago in Phoenix, Arizona. And it was some panel discussion and some history deal. And he thought I was nobody anyway. But I said, Kansas loves government. Nobody loves government more than Kansas. No, you're a red state. Y'all believe in small government. And I'm like, BS. Kansas loves government. If you don't like the one you got, you're going to make another one.
We got to change our government, but go on.
But we love government, and we love doing government because when we were created, government was it. And your connection to the federal government and all these government jobs at one time, we are Henry, our impact politically on
Kansas.
Kansas impact on the national political stage is so disproportionate. Look at all the political candidates, the presidential candidates we've had, and we've got 3 million people. It's unreal. Bill Wagner and I were talking about that one day.
I
and he
like
said,
Bill.
I love Bill. One of my professors
He's
at
a
Washburn.
historian.
I adore Bill. I'm very grateful to Bill.
Are you taller than Bill?
No.
Okay.
I'm not taller than anybody, but he- we were talking about that, and he said, well, New York has had a bigger impact. I said, look at the population. Per capita, I don't know if anybody has had a bigger impact on the federal government than Kansas. And that's one I
Is
will
that
get
a
on my-
book?
it ought to be. It shouldn't it? It really ought to be. We have a tremendous impact, but we do love government.
You know what it is? It's our, I think it's our upbringing, our values, tolerance to the environment. You know, we were brought up, so different, and sometimes, you know, uh, I've really enjoyed studying my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
You know how
Yeah.
I got here,
Sure.
and if it weren't for my mom standing up to my dad and her dad making sure that she, was safe during the transition, her dad, just didn't just did what was the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
because a son's a son till he marries his wife,
Mm-hmm.
but a daughter's a daughter for the rest of your life. And I was taught duty to the family,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure that other people are taught duty to the family in some of the bigger cities, where some kids don't even know who their dad is and things like that. But um, this is interesting. I ran for county commission the other day.
I know. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm a better man for trying it. You know where I was stupid? I was stupid in telling the electorate, you know what I'm trying-
Electorate.
yeah, thank you, that I was going to give up my real estate license, because the real estate is what makes Henry McClure.
Mm-hmm.
I am a deal maker. That's it. It's all I know.
Yeah.
You can see people, you can hear what's going on, and as many deals as I've seen and lost, but so in my loss, I learned a lot. I had 9,413 people other than me come out and vote for me.
That's fantastic.
I love those people.
I'm serious. Good on you, Henry, for running, because I don't know why in the hell anybody would run for public office right now. It is a thankless job. It is an endless headache, and the media BS that you have to deal with keeps a lot of good people out of it.
Well, here, that's interesting. Let's talk about that real quick, because right now we're the media.
Yeah.
I get-
It's yeah, honey. I started when I was 15, writing for the local newspaper in Stewart, Virginia. So yeah, I have been through the whole media upheaval, and man, it has turned on its head.
You know how my dad made a living?
How?
Buying newspapers, TV stations, and AM/FM stations for a fella named Oscar Stoffer.
Oh, sure.
He was
Yeah.
my dad had a doctorate in tax law. I didn't really get to know my dad until I've been on the Mighty Mo.
Mm-hmm.
I stood right where the Japanese surrendered.
Oh, wow.
And Dad was the first B-29 to fly over as the Japanese were surrendering. And what happened to my dad, he had trouble coping with how many people he killed with the incendiary bombs.
Mm-hmm.
And but I have a piece of the surrender deck, and I showed it to him, and then my dad just opened up and told me everything about the war.
Right.
And one day, the other day, I found a secret. I have a box that was and it had a secret door, and I found all my mom's stuff from 29 Palms. And she'd tell me she lived out there, and they'd go to Hollywood, and she says it was like the movies.
Right.
And this is during the war
Mm-hmm.
when he was training to drop the atomics. And he said it was nightgowns and tuxedos and
Yeah.
everybody dressed to the nines.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Different era.
Very different era. You know, when I did a book for the History Press with my friend Michelle Martin, Kansas Forts and Bases, and it's a good overview. It's an interesting book. But I was out in Dodge City and in the History Center researching the air base that was out there.
Now, where's
And
that?
in Dodge City. And so
Is that a SAC base?
no, no, it was a oh, my mind just went blank. But they had I better not say because I can't. My mind just went blank. But they were we were training pilots all over Kansas, and the crashes. It's like stacks of newspaper articles about the plane crashes.
In Dodge City.
Oh, yeah, around Dodge City and then all over Kansas, where you've got these guys training. They're trying to get them out just like that. And
Do you know, I think you brought up kind of an interesting thing. And you know why I think Topeka's a failure? No, seriously. Because we've never been able to capitalize on Forbes as a
I
private.
do think that Forbes is.
You got the third largest runway in the country,
Right.
the largest refueling depot
Yeah.
in the country, and we haven't been able to capitalize on it.
I
As
love,
a government, the government.
I love Topeka, and I miss Topeka. Like last night, I came to town and dropped my daughter off to see friends, and I went over to the Classic Bean, and
They got
uh,
some nice artwork in there now.
they do, and the live music, and Kevin Hoover's playing, and I miss that a lot. There's a lot that is wonderful about Topeka. Um, when oh my God, James was the mayor. What's James's last-
McClinton.
Yeah, McClinton.
I liked him.
I did too. So when he was the mayor, we had our 150th anniversary, and I was part of a committee that was supposed to pick a logo for Topeka or a slogan or something. And our committee did nothing but argue. And we never did come up with anything. And so if Topeka has an issue, it's figuring out who we are.
You know something? You have hit on it. So, after living everywhere I've lived, we're Mayberry. Okay?
It is a big, small town.
Reno's the biggest little city in the world.
I don't know.
That's their slogan. They even have a sign.
Yeah,
But listen, we can't embrace being just Topeka.
I know.
What? Hey, they got to hire everybody from outside. We got a city manager from outside. It's and maybe it's because of the ethnicity of the mayor, but a police chief from outside. My sheriff said that Clump was a good guy. Well, why don't we promote from within? And we could find a city manager here that already knows where all the pimples on the butt are. You know what I mean? We're not, well, we got to bring somebody from the outside to tell us what to be. No.
I think in general, Kansas has an inferiority complex, and I think
Well, we know I don't.
that Topeka does too. And one of the reasons that I'm so into history, and working with school kids, they need to know important people were right here, came from right here. People who came out of this ground did incredible things, and you can too. And that's, ordinary places. And Topeka is ordinary in a wonderful way. It is.
Have you ever seen a better state capital than ours?
No. Oh my God.
It's so beautiful.
It is incredible. And
Oh man, they've got like a big project that they want to do. Um, I want to get involved with this mural, but they're trying to raise 250 grand. You know what's funny? I learned about politics. No matter where you're in it, it's always the person up above it's the problem.
yeah,
So
true.
there's so many stuff with the uh like I used to go down, and this is one thing I really hated about Kevin Cook. Uh, or didn't respect. I have no respect for Kevin Cook as a politician because I'm your constituent. I happen to live inside the city. It's your responsibility as a commissioner to go negotiate something wrong. Not just because I'm Henry McClure, because it makes sense. And all they do around this town is they just take care of the oligarchs and the elitist. And it's the same money just trading around each other. And they all think they're a big deal. But we're going to continue to be like this. But if we're going to continue to be like this, let's not give $5 million to go Topeka to where they spend $2.5 million saying we're a big deal. Let's take $5 million and fix the roads. Let's create a reason to live here, to want to live here, and get rid of that inferiority complex that exists.
Well,
Am I yakking on too much
well,
about that?
I'm not knowledgeable enough to speak to any of those specifics, but I will tell you this: Kansas' biggest export is
People.
talent,
Yeah.
and that is something. I'm in Western Kansas, and so holding on to our talent is critical. We have wonderful kids. We've got kids that are doing incredible things. Where are they going to go when they get out of college? A lot of them are going to college at Fort Hays State and K-State, so they're not leaving the state there, but when it's time to get a job, where are they going to go? And now with the internet and that infrastructure, we've even got high-speed internet in Western Kansas now. People can do a lot of jobs remotely. You don't have to live. You don't have to be in downtown Manhattan, New York, to do finance. You can do it from other places, and there's so much. The ag industry has so many layers of expertise, but let's try to keep our talent at home.
When I came home, I called one of my mom's best friends. Her name was Dorothy Hill. And Dorothy is interesting. Her dad was a real estate developer and builder,
Hmm.
Clyde Smalley. And Clyde built a house out on Forbes. In fact, he basically built Pauly. And there's two big houses out there, and he lived in one, and then he built a house for his daughter. Well, Fred and Dorothy really didn't like living next door to their mom and
Hmm.
mom and dad and the
Sure.
father-in-laws. So then they moved over to Westboro, and then Fred had a little store in the Westboro Mart, and I think Dorothy had a lot of money, but she goes, McClure's a good name in Topeka, so why don't you just come home? And I didn't hate Topeka when I left, and I don't want to hate it today, but with sober, clean eyes, I mean, I almost know why I was drunk a lot. You know what I mean? And it's so funny because you can go to the bar and you can meet the guys that are getting turned down on the same stuff that the others do.
Hmm.
Because we're not a part of the country club and the hierarchy of this town. We're not Cody Foster. We're not Klossman. And I'll tell you, I admire Klossman. I pray to God he gets the baseball team coming here, but everybody bitches about him not paying taxes out in Lawrence Bay. Well, don't bitch at him, bitch at the government for not collecting them. Don't bitch at the guy. Have you ever run a stop sign, then run down to the jail and said,
Right.
I want to turn myself in. You know what I mean? But so the history I've really been fascinated. I've loved the history, and I've loved where I fit into it. You know, because like the whole mall business thing that I did, it all started here.
Mm-hmm.
It started here in the early '60s with Mason Dana building strip centers. So let's see I think when I sold mainline printing, the old Sears building,
Mm-hmm.
Bianca and I hopped in the car and just took a trip. And I went all through Iowa to look at our strip centers that we developed. And we just Renee wouldn't go, I don't know, whatever. But Bianca, hey, are we going to stay in a hotel? you know, and we had to get hotels with swimming pools,
Right.
and she's in the real estate business, and she's starting a podcast.
Good for her.
I know, I love that kid.
Good for her.
She's grounded. She's no, really. I mean,
You don't mean being punished. You mean she's
no.
well,
And a lot of people say, because Bianca and I talk about my alcoholism.
Mhm.
And she goes, Dad, you were a good dad. You showed up to everything. Sometimes you're just drunk.
Mhm.
And it's good to when your kid can also like say, well, I know why you divorced,
Yeah.
and it's okay, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not because you worry about it, because
Oh
what you
yeah.
do as a dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Parenting. I actually my two younger grandkids are living with me now. They're 6 and 8, and
Now, do you got your crew with you? Will I meet them tomorrow?
maybe they're yeah, my younger daughter and the grandkids are back at the hotel in the swimming pool right now.
Okay.
My grandson, he's 6. Oh my God, he's so smart, Henry. He is so stinking smart. He's brilliant. But he walks into the hotel room. He was so excited. We are going to take a trip, stay in a hotel with a
Right.
swimming pool.
Right?
He walks in the room and he's like, God almighty, this is a big room.
That's you. That's you.
Oh gosh, he's something.
Well, what's
All right.
next? What's
right.
next?
All right, I
for
got
you?
it. Okay, so I want to tell you a couple of things. I brought you this too. I am the chair of the 200th anniversary of the Santa Fe Trail. Talk about a story of commerce, Henry.
Right?
It's all about commerce. The
The
Santa Fe
Santa Fe
Trail
Trail?
is a road of commerce. It's not an immigrant trail where we're all going to settle. It is trade back and forth.
When I was a Boy Scout, we got a big medal for walking the Santa Fe Trail.
Which part? Or
I don't
how
know
far?
what part. I was a kid. I don't know where it was.
Well,
Hey, I
Kansas.
just, you had to show up. Hey, be here at this time, and we're gonna walk a long way. And I'm out there walking like it was a trail of tears.
Kansas has more miles of the trail than any other state. It slashed diagonally across Kansas. So we've been marking this anniversary for 5 years now. So Council Grove will have a big event in September, like the third, fourth weekend, September 22nd or something. So anyway, Santa Fe Trail, big deal. All right, Sod and Stubble, the movie, will be premiered in Wichita at the Orpheum Theater on March 28th. So Bailey Chase will be there, and Dodie Brown, who plays Rosa Ice, and Buck Taylor and Rudy Ramos.
Buck Taylor,
Yes.
that's a name.
And Rudy Ramos, who is in Yellowstone and was in High Chaparral back in the day.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, he played Wind. He
Oh,
was
my dad was so into westerns. It was so funny.
Well, we'll have them, and then we'll have Mary
He played
McDonough.
Wind.
Yeah, that was the kid's name. Remember the half-breed kid that worked for him on the ranch?
Did
That's
he ever?
Rudy Ramos.
Did he ever get broken?
I don't think so.
Break wind.
Be quiet. God,
All right.
you're a tough one, Henry.
All right.
And
Kind of
it's
funny.
hard to maintain your class, and so. And then we've got Darby Hinton, who was little Israel Boone on Daniel Boone, and
Darby isn't that a neat name?
oh, I love that name.
Do you know much about Harry Darby?
Not a lot. I did know some from, Mary Turkington, who they ought to put a statue of Mary up downtown too. What an incredible woman she was. But yeah, she would.
Harry Darby was my, and he got appointed to the Senate during the war.
Uh huh.
but he was an industrialist in Kansas City and my grandfather's best friend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Talk about another book that should be written is on Arthur Capper. And there is a little biography of him. But I'm telling you what, Arthur Capper and Charlie Curtis were next door neighbors. So they were the only U.S. senators in the country that lived right beside of each other. And they were very good friends. They were not as close.
No, that's a story right
Oh,
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, my dad, my dad, when he was working for Oscar Stoffer, also did some stuff for Oscar, radio.
Uh-huh.
And my dad had a blooper, and he introduced Senator Crapper. And that was there was a record called Pardon My Bloopers, and that was on it.
Senator Crapper.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well, Arthur Capper is an amazing man.
You can't make this shit up.
No, you can't make it up. He was an amazing man. He was a really amazing man. But
well, tell me about it. What do you want?
Arthur, and just like you're talking about what's wrong with Topeka and everything.
Well, wait a second.
Capper,
that's part of recovery.
Yeah.
You got a point,
Yeah. Oh, no, and that's perfectly fine. But Arthur Capper had this ability, and Charlie Curtis had it too, to just see around things. They just, whatever obstacles were in front of them, they saw them and they just kept going.
Wow,
it
I like
amazes
that.
me. They just, that sucks, but oh well. And they just keep going.
Some guy the other day was yelling at me and telling me, I'm not going to do that. And I've heard not going to do that so much in my life. I've just gone around that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I'm going to do it no matter what.
And they just keep going. They just keep going. They're really remarkable people. And Arthur Capper really, I swear, I don't know how he did it. He seems to have been fearless. He really doesn't care if anybody likes what he does or not. And yet he had that media empire. I think his media empire was second only to Hearst. I think so. I wouldn't swear to
William
it.
Randolph Hearst.
I think Capper's media deal was second only to his.
Well, wait a minute. But what did he do?
Well, he starts out, as a newspaper reporter. Actually, I think he started out just setting type, and then he became a reporter.
Well, talk about his empire on the big picture.
He had
was it newspapers?
Yeah, that's who Stoffer got their newspapers, got the stuff from, Henry. That was Capper's.
Dad,
Capper Publication. Ogden Publications.
So we bought Capper out.
Yeah. Well, Ogden,
over time.
Ogden is part of the original Capper. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. I learned something.
Yeah. No, Capper, he had it all.
My mom and dad divorced when I was 3, and I don't know everything.
You heard it first, right here. Henry said, I don't know everything.
I don't know everything. But so.
Yeah, Capper was an incredible
businessman. So
businessman.
that's how Oscar grew.
And he had integrity. So he's this incredible businessman who also apparently has integrity. And he was big on 4-H and kids buying animals to, grow for the 4-H and sell.
Oh, man.
He loaned kids money to buy a pig or whatever to, he's incredible.
Mr. McNorton, if you're watching, we're going to help you because our 4-H thing in the fairgrounds, they get so mistreated because of the outside influence. We're not even smart enough to run our own expo center. We're not smart enough to figure out how to get the hospitals to pay taxes.
Well, look to Capper. I'm telling you, he was governor. He was a good governor. He was governor during.
Good governor.
Yeah, he was a good governor. When was
I'd
he
like
governor?
To be governor.
Like 16?
I want to live in Cedar Crest.
It's kind of small, Henry.
It's okay.
Small house,
I'm trying to downsize. You should have seen my house. You ought to see my house down there. It's kind of fun. That's where the art gallery is going to be.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're going to get on First Friday.
Oh, nice.
The art that I showed you, Mike Siegel's art.
Uh-huh. I miss First Friday. I there's a lot of things I miss about Topeka.
Why'd
Uh,
you move?
well, I love the high plains. I really do. You know where I
Well, wait a
live.
minute. Talk about the high plains.
Well, where
What's
I live
different?
in Oakley.
Yeah.
All right, the altitude is 3,200 feet.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and people don't realize it. You know, you're going as you head west, you're going steadily up. What is the altitude here? 1,000, 1,200, somewhere around there.
Hey, hang on. Ziggy, what's the elevation of Topeka, Kansas?
Okay, so less than 1,000 feet. All right, so as you head westward, you know you're steadily going up that incline, and by the time you get to Wakini, I can feel it when I get to Wakini.
Really?
Yeah, but then Oakley, and as you're going west, it's getting even steeper. You know, Mount Sunflower. Have you ever been to Mount Sunflower?
No.
Our highest point in Kansas, over 4,000 feet. So you got to come out to Wallace County, come to Fort Wallace. We'll take you out to Mount Sunflower.
You know what? I was telling somebody the other day, I I wouldn't mind just spending the rest of my life exploring Kansas.
There's so much.
Right.
There's so much. When you come out and see us, like Fort Wallace, I'm so proud of our programming. We had a couple of years ago, we have a different theme every year, but we had several different Plains tribes represented, and we had a panel discussion. What does it mean to be Indian in the modern world? We had 6 panelists from 16 to 65 from 5 different tribes. We had, I think, 300 people in the audience for 2 hours. And we finally just had to quit because we had other things going on. It was phenomenal.
So
It
tell
was
me
so
about
good.
Mount Sunflower. Where is it?
It is in Wallace County.
Where's
So,
Wallace County?
okay, if you go west on 70, till
Yeah.
you get to Oakley.
Yeah.
All right, Oakley is where 70, takes that jut and starts going hard northwest.
Yeah.
Okay, if you take Highway 40, which goes kind of southwest
Yeah.
to the Springs, to
Right.
Colorado Springs, then you go through Wallace County. It's the last county in
Yeah.
Kansas.
We'd always turn at Oakley. See, Clifford, when the turnpike went through
Hmm.
his Edwardsville farm, Clifford Bantleon, well, he had been going out to the springs
Uh-huh.
for a long time. He
Uh-huh.
loved the springs.
Uh-huh.
And, but later on, he bought 120 acres in Teller County.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, between Florissant and Lake George.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, beautiful on the Crystal Peak side.
Uh-huh.
And I think my cousin Harvey Bantleon, Hoover, still owns maybe 60 acres up there,
Uh-huh.
the Bantleon Ranch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Well, we're right on Highway 40.
I loved Colorado. So I've got a map in there that's got all the counties in the country. So I'll look it up.
Yeah. We're
But
on Mountain Time. Wallace County's on Mountain Time. So if you're coming, pay attention to the
and I'm
time
living
zone.
on Tulsa time.
I'm living on Debbie time. Nothing is
Oh
quite
man,
what it's
I live on Henry. I don't even know what time it is. After I got sober,
what day it is.
what does it matter? I got to go to work. I got stuff to
Yep.
do. I got deals to make.
Yep.
I love it. I mean, I know Sundays kind of because I like going to church. I like going down to Grace Cathedral and I've enjoyed traveling. Rick Clues, do you know Rick?
I don't think so.
He's got his own church. It's kind of interesting. I like going because like the naysayers,
Mhm.
like to pick on him because he's got this very successful thrift store. But so I know a lot of people that have had the big changes in life. You know what I mean? And Rick Clues is the real deal. And he's a family man but I think having some sort of spiritual foundation is really important.
Oh, absolutely.
Trump just started an office of faith, and that's part of his whole White House. Did you know that?
No, I'm not sure I would agree with that, but
Why? You don't know that he did it?
no, I just don't know that starting one would be, faith is above politics. And
Yeah, but also too, I mean, in God we trust. I mean, we came here, we came here for our religious freedom.
Well, my ancestors came for the freedom to make whiskey. I actually
They're boozers.
I wrote an article about this when I was
What? Now, where were they? What? So what's your?
the Scots Irish.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I'm Scotch.
yeah, they come to
We're Highlanders.
yeah, they came to make booze. And if they had to pay tithes to the church.
We
great,
just
but
didn't. We wanted to just get away from the crown.
yeah,
We ain't putting up with
I
that.
love doing ancestry, and and I know a lot of of course, all my ancestors were here long before the Revolution. I don't have anybody that came later than the American Revolution.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to look up when Henry got kicked out of France.
well, mine are all way back, so I don't know. It's hard.
Well, the
to.
McClure's go back further than the Bantleons.
Mm-hmm.
But and my Aunt Mariana, who I love, my mom's older sister was she was a trip. She was a historian or a librarian, and she did all the ancestry research, and she has a
pretty
wealth
cool,
of
isn't it?
information. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I love it.
I mean, sometimes you don't even know what you don't know yet.
Yeah.
That's a Henry colloquial. So I'm gonna try to make it big.
Yogi Berra.
What else you got? Anything else? What's that? What's that?
I bought you a couple of these, like I said, on the Santa Fe
Oh,
Trail.
these are for me to
yeah,
keep.
yeah.
And then I
pass them
gotta
around.
buy the book.
You gotta buy the book. That's right. And I will have some for sale tomorrow.
Okay. Wagon tracks.
Mhm.
All right. What else? What else you want to talk about?
I want.
Because I can wear people out here. How long we been on the show?
Oh God,
Can you
probably
see?
way too long. People probably died. And
No. Well, let's just see. Let's see what we've done. We've been on. We've been on an hour and 43 minutes.
An hour and 43 minutes. Oh my gosh.
I think
That's
it
been
flew.
great. Yeah,
I think it flew.
yeah, it has. It's been great.
So now I've got a guy, MD. MD will download this, and then he'll put search engine optimization in it, the keywords. So let's give MD some keywords.
All right, Charlie Curtis or Charles Curtis.
Right.
And Sod and Stubble.
Deb Goodrich.
Deb Goodrich. Fort Wallace.
Fort Wallace.
Santa Fe Trail.
Well, so let's talk about other books that you wrote, because I posted some stuff up about some of your other books. Let's talk about those real quick.
Well, I did the Civil War in Kansas, and that's a good overview. It's a real simple book. It's the 10 years, so it's 54 to 65 basically, and it's a good overview. A high school kid could read this and get a good overview of what that 10 years was like. And even some of my friends who are diehard history people, there were a couple of little things in it that they didn't know, but it's a good place to start.
Have you ever seen the book, The Annals of Kansas?
Sure, yeah.
Tim Ruis gave me that one year for Christmas.
How nice.
And
Yeah.
but it's so dry. I couldn't.
It's a great
It's
resource.
more of a
though.
reference book.
It really is a great resource.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great resource. Yeah, so
So
I'm
there's
very
ano-
indebted to many of those people who wrote that stuff down back then.
So there's another book. What? Come on, there's one more.
I actually did one on Kansas music, and so I was on the board of the Kansas Music Hall of Fame for a while. I'm still a big supporter of Kansas Music Hall of Fame. Again, the talent the state produces is unreal. It's just unreal. Per capita, our contribution is staggering, just staggering. Dwayne Bailey, who was with Chicago, and Bob Seger from Manhattan, just incredible musician. And of course, the band Kansas. Kerry Livgren, a genius in every sense of the word.
Emily Livgren was in my class.
Really?
Yeah, at Washburn Rural.
Oh
She
my
was
gosh.
a beautiful person. She had like her soul.
Mhm.
You could, if you could read energy, her soul.
Well,
It just was there. M is what we call her.
I'd have to say, Carrie, he's the most, talk about being grounded and down to earth, and he is just a genius walking among us. He uh, is
Well,
unreal.
that's nice. I'm glad.
And Phil Ehart, who is their um, drummer and manager, and has been out. Are you getting a phone call? Is this important?
I don't know. We can see.
Yeah, let's see if this is important.
Henry and McClure live. We got James Bolden on the horn.
Yeah, Henry, I didn't know if you still wanted 1 o'clock was still good or not.
Yeah, 1 o'clock. Come on by. I'm live in the studio right now with Deb Goodrich.
Okay, 1 o'clock.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, I got another show going on at 1. That's an hour
So,
away.
so that means you got to kick me out
No,
before
not
then.
yet.
Vice President under.
So I had you going out on X.
So we've just got this incredible amount of talent, and you talk about not tapping Forbes. The other place that we do not tap as a state is Fort Leavenworth. I used to do media training at Fort Leavenworth and staff rights. And when I had my radio talk show, remember that, Henry? I miss that.
Now, wait, who were you? Didn't you replace Robin and Megan?
Oh, God, no. They were my competition. I replaced Jim Cates. God bless Jim Cates. And Jim, he announced that he was going to retire. And I thought, well, I'm going to talk to Jim and see if maybe I could do some co-hosting or something. And then they
just
fired
gave you
him.
the show.
No, they fired him.
I know why he got
And-
fired.
Well, like you, he says what he thinks.
No, it was an advertising issue.
Oh, well.
You can't disparage an advertiser.
Well, truth in journalism, what do you do?
That's why if I ever run for political office, anything again, I won't take it. Number one, I don't want the reporting. But number two, I'm not going to take a nickel. Zero. I don't want to I don't want to owe anybody
I
anything.
know. That's really tough. That really is.
Yeah, I'm not going to owe anybody anything.
So Jim got fired, and I walked in, and I love Jim, but heck, it was an opportunity. Jim and I have talked about this. I walked in, and they're like, yeah, sure. Heck, I could have been, just off the boat. They wouldn't have cared. Just, yeah, you can sit in there. And I did a good job. And Steve Foreman was the producer. He had the hour before I came on. But I had 3 hours. I had 4 to 6 guests a day on.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
How come you didn't put me on?
I think I did, Henry.
Oh, okay.
Mike Fox one time.
I like that guy.
Oh, my God.
I met Mike when he was building a Payless shoe at one of our malls.
Well, Mike told me one time, and this is one of the nicest compliments I ever had, because I know he only listened just to be nice because it was me. But then he got hooked, and he said, you have all these...
No, he ain't that guy.
Well-
he liked the show.
Well, he said, you would talk about the people you'd have on, and it's like, well, there's no way she knows anything about that. And then there's another guy, it's totally another subject. Well, no way she knows anything about that. But then you knew something about all of them. He
Well,
said,
I've got his property for sale on 6th Street,
oh,
the International Oddfellows.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's down south. He goes, I think he's either Corpus Christi or somewhere down in the Gulf of America.
Oh, bless his heart. No, the Foxes.
Yeah, he's a
they're-
cool dude.
Yeah,
He's out there,
they're.
but I love him.
Greg's my favorite Fox, but
The cook?
yeah.
Oh, I got pissed at that guy because he's like trying to say the trees at Grace Cathedral are historic,
Well,
Okay, well, look, it's a tree,
I happen to love trees, Henry.
Well, I
so-
know, but we're not going to make a toothpick out of it. I'm going to get some water. Well,
Still my favorite Fox, Greg, no matter what Henry says.
well, he's quite a chef. No, I don't hate him.
Oh, he's a great person. So talented.
In fact,
Talented singer,
that's one
songwriter.
thing. That's one thing. I don't want to hate. You know what I mean? There's things that I don't like or accept or want in my life, and I just got to change the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and one of the people that watches my show on YouTube, uh, think, because I call people out and they
Right.
think that's offensive. Well, I don't really care. Change the channel.
As a journalist, um, I'm really glad that I started my journalism career in a small town because you do have to weigh your words because it does affect people. And but there are times people do need to be called out.
Yeah. Well,
And it does not have to be mean spirited, it
no.
doesn't have to be ugly, but accountability, that's, yeah, accountability matters.
Well, so that's why I think everybody on the city council today needs to be replaced. Every one of them. We got to start over. We, you know, we got to flush the toilet.
Well, since I haven't been in Topeka for a while, I don't know I don't even know who is on the city council
And I will
anymore,
tell you that my the people I do business with are Make America Great people. They are, and it's 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 a different time from being a Republican or a Democrat. If you want to make America
Oh
great,
man, I think both parties. I don't want to get into too much politics, but
why not?
both parties have just
You said this is the government.
failed us. They've
No, they have.
they
I
have.
mean, because they won't say USAID is a cutout for the CIA, but we just need to stop being. We got to go back to Ike. In fact, I want to read about his warning. We're we're uh, we're watching all this, uh, and I want to go back and even though you hear his speech when he leaves
Mhm.
office, but and there's books about the Industrial War complex.
Yeah,
But that's what it's all about.
yeah,
I mean, they've found where we're subsidizing, um, we're subsidizing terrorists so we can go fight them.
right.
And that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Well, okay, so what's next?
What's next? I want to write a limited series, a TV script on Charlie Curtis.
I think that this would be a great place for a soundstage.
Oh, yeah,
I've always dreamt about that.
yeah. Well, and I hope I haven't heard the latest, but the film bill in Kansas, we are losing so much business to the surrounding states. Oklahoma gives tax credits. Missouri, New Mexico is
Who's
raking up.
Tell me about the film bill? Who's running it?
Um, Grow Kansas Film, and
But
we finally got bipartisan support last year, and Laura vetoed it. And I guess there was something attached to the bill. You know how that stuff goes, that wasn't kosher. I don't know, but we need that film bill.
okay,
We need that film bill.
okay, let's look into that.
Yeah,
I've got research people that watch the show.
yeah, we need.
But you
the
know
film
who I
bill.
want to bring here?
Who?
Besides Elon Musk, I mean, he could do something with Forbes. Greg Gutfeld. Look, he just had a had a kid, and I love his crew, Tyrus. And look, we're centrally located. You got Forbes. People can fly in and out of here. Kat Temp, she just had a kid, and what a better place to have a soundstage for his show.
Go for it, Henry.
That's why
All right.
Mace wanted to get out of New York. He said his kids were living like caged animals. And but uh, I helped raise money, or I tried to raise money for a screenplay called A Slipping Down Life. You know Billy Pryor,
Yeah,
Pryor's Pub.
yeah.
Well, he married a girl named Toni Callum, and it was based on an Ann Tyler novel. And you get in. I found the screenplay. I got it back here, and I was trying to pitch to rich guys that I know. I joined the Independent Film Association when I lived in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
And that part of LA is a trip. The movie business.
It's really.
And you're nobody. We were the largest
Yeah.
mall owner
Yeah.
in California, but
Yeah.
you got to be in the movie business to
Honey,
be somebody.
And it doesn't need, it's like you could have had a blockbuster a couple of years ago, and this week, what have you done lately? It's seriously, it is.
That sounds like the real estate business.
It really, yeah.
Hey, what have
it's-
you done for me lately?
Yeah, that's how it is.
And that's all right. So, so do you want to? Can we shoot it here? Should I build a soundstage?
That'd be awesome.
Why not?
His life, what a incredible movie. His time on the reservation at Council Grove, learning to swim in the Kaw River. He's born about where Great Overland Station is, and his grandpa had a hotel over in North
Here, I
Topeka.
wanna put this down just a little bit.
All right. His grandpa had a hotel in North Topeka and all kinds of businesses. His dad, just think of Captain Jack Sparrow, and that's his dad. He's a colorful character. He could have his own series. He's so interesting. But yeah, it's an incredible life. And then the politics, They said when he got the nomination, the Republican convention in 1928 was in Kansas City. And when Charlie got the second spot, they said there were 50,000 people in downtown Topeka around the State House and all over downtown Topeka.
Hell, that was the whole population.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they estimated the crowds to be. Yeah. Crazy.
Okay, what else? There's got to be something else.
Well, always doing stuff at Fort Wallace. What else am I doing? I went to Ireland last summer, and I spoke in Bridge, which is the hometown of Captain Miles Keogh. Miles Keogh died with Custer at the Little Bighorn, and his horse Comanche is at KU, and he was our commander at Fort Wallace in the 1860s.
Well, what do you mean in that museum?
Yeah,
Stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So his horse from the Little Bighorn is stuffed and is the most popular exhibit at KU's Dyke Museum. So I went.
Is that the one that the bees come and go
Yeah,
out of it?
mhm,
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
So I had 22 members of Keogh's family come to hear me speak. And of course,
Keogh, how do you spell it?
well, the family spelled it Kehoe, but Keogh changed it to Keogh, the English spelling, so he could inherit some money from his aunt. But anyhow,
It's okay with me.
I don't know, whatever. But I had 22 members of his family come and hear me speak. And a lot of them are coming over next year for the anniversary of the Little Bighorn. So we hope to have them out at Wallace and do something special. Yeah, Keogh was
That was kind of
incredible.
that was a bad call.
Honey, you can argue Little Bighorn all day long. I mean, I'm not a Custer fan, but he gets a lot of crap that's not fair to
General George Custer.
Yeah,
No, what didn't he have a middle initial?
Armstrong.
Didn't he go by that?
Audie.
Odd.
The family called him Audie. Yeah, short for Armstrong. Yeah. Yeah. So
All right. I've kind of run out of energy.
well, I guess.
Oh,
I'll have to-
wait a minute. I got these do you know Joe Rogan?
I don't think so.
I've got these mints that he's got. Is there a bag of mints over there?
No.
See him?
No.
Well, he's got these mints that are full of focus and energy. They got a little caffeine in them
Oh, cool.
and a little thing to kind of cool you down. All right. Well, what else? We can put some links
Yeah, great.
to your books,
Yeah.
and they're all on Amazon,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Actually, I'm approved to be an Amazon affiliate.
Really?
Yeah, I've got, and what I'm going to do
Of
is,
course you are.
well, I want to focus on books
Cool.
and call it learn and earn.
Okay. All right.
You know, I've been reading a lot more lately just because I'm just so sick of, you know, there's not any good movies and I'm sick of the news. So I want new information.
Yeah, I don't watch the news anymore. I can't take it.
I'm really enjoying this book on Cash Patel
Oh, cool.
by Cash Patel.
Uh-huh.
And he's a cool dude. And it's really neat because he brings it to life. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, when some writers you just, well, I don't know, you know, but he keeps you captivated to the book. In fact, I think that's what I'm gonna do Sundays. Just sit down and knock it out.
After you read my book, when are you going to get to mine?
I'll read it next.
Okay, read that next. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks.
Do I
Amy.
got to pay cash or will you take a check? Hey, can you take a credit card or
No.
should I just buy it online?
No, buy it from me.
Oh, you don't want to pay the commission.
That's right.
All right. Well, hey, will you come back?
I
Will you
don't-
come on the show again?
Sure. Yeah. Whenever I'm in town.
All right. We got to figure out how to.
Or call in from
Yeah.
out west.
And let's, Marshall, we miss you.
I miss you, Marshall.
He's,
Yes, you brought a lot to this show.
he does.
He does.
I mean, he's just,
He is so smart. Do you know anybody with a vocabulary
no,
that rivals Marshall Barber?
no,
No.
I don't.
No, nobody.
And he just comes in from left field.
yeah. Yeah, he's got a different perspective.
You know, when I was a kid, he was like a hero.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, wow, Marshall Barber. Wow.
Yeah. No, he's something. He's
So he's married to my step cousin. He was Nancy.
uh-huh.
And then his daughter is Amelia.
Right.
And Amelia is, I think, going to have some art in our art museum.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Good deal.
Well, hey,
This has been awesome.
if you want, you got 1 minute, you can call in right now, 785-383-9994.
And come and see us in
Too
Western
late.
Kansas.
And then 2 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever read the Black Law over there? You know, the original Constitution that's in Lecompton
Yeah.
has a
yeah.
black law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
yeah.
and that's, you know, it's kind of sad.
It is. It is. That's yeah. Yeah. History's not pretty,
But it's the truth.
but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't change it.
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Henry.
You're a
It's been
doll.
great.
All right. Henry McClure Live. We're going to wind the show down. I got to fork up $30 for the book.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you.